Since I know this is going on YouTube, we're going to start out by saying hi, YouTube. Phasmophobia had a balance patch today that just launched, so we're going to play that today. But I want to go through the notes with you guys. Now you can't see my screen, but I will have posted the screen. Let's turn this down just a little bit. I will have posted the screen for YouTube. But if you're on Twitch watching, you can't see anything. So what I see is a bunch of text, but then there's also black boxes. And those black boxes are if you don't want spoilers. So we are going to go through the spoilers of the patch notes just because we want to know everything. I want to know everything. So if you don't want to know spoilers, don't watch this. But they said specifics are found in spoiler tags. This way you can enjoy reading patch notes normally and spoiler-free as before. Or you can deep dive into the numbers and fine tunings of each update. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So we have ghost identities. Some of the ghosts still weren't quite sitting right after our recent overhaul. So we've gone back and made additional changes to those that were suffering the most. Hashtag justice for Banshee. So the demon got a lot of the Banshee's traits. So a lot of things were taken from the Banshee and given to the demon, and then the Banshee was just kind of like a normal ghost, basically. It didn't really have anything going for it, if you ask me. So this will be cool. So the demons have had their weaknesses replaced by the Banshees, as it is more thematical and serves as a better counter to their strength. So their weakness is that crucifixes will stop hunting within a 5-meter radius instead of 3 meters. So for anybody who remembers, the Banshee used to be more affected by the crucifixes, but now the demons will be, which does make more sense. So now that's all for the demon. So the demon has the 100% sanity hunting chance, and it hunts every 20 seconds instead of 25 seconds like every other ghost. But now it has the crucifix weakness. Now the Banshee has received a new weakness and new abilities. So the weakness, Banshees can sometimes be heard wailing with a parabolic microphone. Now I've heard this wail, and it's kind of cool. It's a lot better than the old wailing, if you ask me, so I'll take that. The Banshee's paranormal sounds have been improved. I think they could still improve it a little bit more, if you ask me. I think they could turn it up. It's a little bit quiet. I feel like for a Banshee, it should be loud and in your face, but I don't know. We'll see what they do with that. Okay, singing ghost events will now drain an extra 5% sanity on the Banshee's target. So if you are not the target, it will drain like normal, but if you're in solo play, you'll always be the target. So it'll drain an extra 5% sanity. And as you know, the Banshee actually prefers singing ghost events because it's a Banshee. Banshees will only check their target's sanity percentage for initiating a hunt in multiplayer. So this is crazy. So what that means is if its target is below 50% sanity, but say everybody else's sanity is 100% and your average is like 80% or something like that, it'll initiate a hunt because its target is within hunting sanity. It's pretty cool. That's going to lead to a lot of confusion because you're going to think, oh, that was an early hunting ghost. But no, it's not an early hunting ghost. It just checks its target and only its target. All right, and then Banshees will often wander towards their target when roaming. This was to kind of add to the Banshee's stalking ability that was never actually in the game, but a lot of people thought was in the game. So now the Banshee actually does stalk its target. It's kind of cool. All right, then we have the shade. We found out that some shades are particularly fond of showing themselves early on in contracts. So we've dialed them back to avoid the confusion with other ghosts. I have had this happen. I remember a specific game where I was dealing with a shade, and I was probably in the 80% sanity range, and it did like a ghost event that was like the transparent ghost, and I was like, what? This can't be a shade. But it was a shade. It was a freaking shade. Like, shades aren't supposed to show themselves like that. Granted, they do prefer the shady and the transparent models, I guess, when they do show themselves. But for the most part, they just do the ghost event. The hey ghost event. But anyway, shades will have a much lower chance to perform ghost events, returning to normal as average player sanity decreases. They still shady. They are still shady, man. So for every 1% of average sanity lost, ghost event chance is increased by 2%, capped at 100%. So, for example, if your team's average sanity is 100%, there is a 0% chance that the shade will do a ghost event. At 75% average sanity, there's a 50% chance, and this is the chance within its normal activity. So shades are less active, right, than other ghosts. So this is 50% chance of their normal activity. Because otherwise, once you get down to like 50% chance average sanity, there's a 100% chance that it'll show within its normal activity. So it's not going to be like a freaking Oni once you've hit 50% sanity. It's a 100% chance within its normal activity, which is already going to be less likely to show itself. Does that make sense? So they're going to be extra shy in the beginning, but as you decrease your sanity, then they'll start to be like a normal shade, if that makes any sense. Okay, next we have the Poltergeist. The Poltergeist only has one little change here. The Poltergeist ability will now reduce the sanity of all players around the ghost instead of just one player. So if you remember, the Poltergeist ability is to throw multiple objects at once. So there will be a 2% sanity drain per object thrown by the Poltergeist. So your sanity is going to tank a lot quicker with the Poltergeist. All right, then we have the Hantu. The Hantu is actually a little bit scarier now. Hantus have become the new ghost people love to loop. It is true. It is so true. They're so fun to loop. And they say, which is great. However, they weren't threatening when they should be. So we've given them some speed and ability changes to make them a little bit more frightening in the cold. So Hantus now have double the chance to turn off the power, meaning it's going to get cold often. Hantus will now show their breath in room temperatures of 3 degrees Celsius or lower, which means if you have the breaker off, you'll see the breath of the Hantu everywhere in the house. However, when it's cold, they're gonna be fast. The Hantu's maximum speed has been increased and will change speed between smaller temperature brackets. So at 15 degrees Celsius, hey Turtle, how's it going? We're just going through the patch notes for Phasmophobia. Spoiler alerts, just letting you know. So at 15 degrees Celsius or greater, the Hantu will move at a speed of 1.4 meters per second. The walking speed of a player is 1.6. That's not the sprinting speed, that's just the walking speed of the player. So you'll still be faster than the Hantu and you'll be able to loop it during hunts. At 12 degrees Celsius, it'll move at 1.5 meters per second, so you can still loop it. At 9 degrees Celsius, it'll be 1.65 meters per second, so just slightly faster than the average walking speed. At 6 degrees Celsius, it's 1.8 meters per second. At 3 degrees Celsius, it's 2.2 meters per second. And then at 0 degrees Celsius or lower, it'll be 2.5 meters per second. Okay, so for the Hantu, to give you an idea, this is what I learned from Insim. The Revenant runs at about a speed of around 3 meters per second. The Raiju runs at about a speed of 2.6 meters per second. And the Hantu in the cold will be 2.5 meters per second. So he thinks that you could potentially hear the fast footsteps of the Hantu in the cold. So Hantus are scary in the cold, but fun when it's warm. Okay, man, I really wish I could share this screen with you. I'll have to figure out how to do that for future patch updates. Okay, so one of the new updates to the game is going to be really fun. is with the High Priestess card in the tarot cards. It's received a new functionality, which should help with drawing one early, playing solo, and to counter some of the risks involved with other cards, aka the Hanged Man, where you could potentially die. Drawing this card when no one is dead will revive the next player who dies. So you could just have a life in your back pocket and just like, if you get murked, it's fine because you're going to come back. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty fun. All right, here are some changes to some of the to the game in general. The Tower card and Voodoo doll pins can now force the ghost to interact with ghostwriting books, dots projectors, and doors instead of just interacting with clutter. All right, and then the Voodoo doll's sanity drain has been reduced, so it's actually beneficial to use the Voodoo doll. So normal pins will drop sanity anywhere from 10% to 5%, or it's from 10% to 5%. So each pin will be 5%. Then the heart pin was dropped from 20% to 10%. So you'll only lose half the sanity you would have originally if you use the Voodoo doll. So that's fun. All right. Then gray ghost text will no longer appear in the journal when taking a second photo of a ghost. I'm not sure why that's a thing, but it's a thing now. Ghosts will no longer turn on lights before smashing them. All right, cool. There's a bunch of bug fixes too, which I'm not going to go through, but if you would like to see the bug fixes, you can check out the store page on Steam, and there's a ton of bug fixes. So, not too bad. Now, with that said, it's time to play.